Okay, let's talk about the next one. Our next method is insert new fifth element. We are inserting a node containing a value between the existing fourth and fifth nodes so that the original fifth node becomes the sixth node. So we're inserting it between the two. If the collection only has 4 values, then insert it into the new last value. If the collection only has 3 or few values, don't insert. So these are we're going to have 3 different sections in here. We're going to have this basically an error one where we don't insert. We're going to have one where we have 4 values. And so we're going to insert that into the last value. That means we have to update our last pointer. And then we have our normal case or our general case here. Notice that we are passing in a value. This is the name. This value here is the name of the value or the name of the variable. This here is the type, and it's being passed in by reference. And it is const, so we're not changing the value that we're passing in. We're putting it in our function and just using it in our function. So let's go ahead and open up OneNote here. Okay, and let's just clean some of this up a little bit. Just delete that. So if we have this case here where we only have 3 nodes, again, we can use count. If that's the case, then we are just going to return. We're not going to throw this time because remember we have a return type of void. So we're just going to return return comma semicolon. We don't return anything. We just use the return keyword. But we're probably going to put we're going to print out to the console that hey, there's only 3 nodes, so we can't insert a fifth node. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is this here. When last is pointing to our 4th node, and there is no 5th node. Okay, this doesn't exist, so this is null pointer. Again, we can use count. Count should actually be 4 here in this case. All right. So we're just going to say, hey, if count is equal to 4, then we create a new node. So we're going to create a new node. Have to use the new keyword. You can look at how to do that. We're going to create a new node. Okay. There it is. And you can call this new node, or you can call this node, or next node, or temp. You could call this temp as well. Then what we're going to do is last is pointing to 4, right? New node is pointing to the new node. Whatever you name this, if you name this node, we'll get the new out of there. If we name this node, then node is pointing to that new node we just created. So we go ahead and say that, hey, the last next is equal to the node, right? This should come in as a null pointer, so that should already be a null pointer. So what we just did there by saying that last not next, it's last link. Okay. Last link now points to node. All right. And then, are we done? No, we need to put the data in. So node data is equal to the value passed in. So node data is equal to value. And then we're still not done. We need to set this pointer, this last pointer, to the new node. It needs to be pointing here. So last is equal to node. And that's how we would do that. Next section. So let me clean some of this up a little bit. Next section is if there's 5 or more. All right. So let's get this pointing so that there is 5 or more. Okay, we've got 5 or more. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a new node. This is our new node. Now we need to insert it. This needs to be inserted right there. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, we need to jump down. We need to create a temporary pointer. So a temp pointer. Again, that's going to look something like node something t maybe. You can go look that up, how to do that. We're going to create a new temp pointer. And we're going to start off with setting temp pointer equal to first. And then we're going to go to first next. And then temp's going to be equal to first, and then temp's going to be equal to first next. You probably could set temp the first time equal to first next and skip a step, but I like to step it down because then 4 steps gets me right here, which is where I want to be. So I want to get this down so that my temp is looking right there, looking at number 4. Okay. Then, so I've got node pointing to node. First thing, now that I'm here and my temp's pointing to number 4 next is pointing to number 5. Well, I want this number, I want this link, I keep saying next, but I want this link to point here to number 5. Okay. So I say, node next or node link is equal to temp link. So now that will be pointing at number 5. I want them both pointing at the same thing. The link on this one and the link on that one I want pointing at the same thing. All right. So now I know where 5 is. I'm already pointing to 5. That's all good. Now all I need to do is get this pointing here. So now I want temp next, not next, temp link equal to node. Great. Now this is now my 5th one. This has now become my 6th one. Am I done? No, last we don't have to worry about because last is actually pointing down here at 200. But I do need to increase my count, and I needed to do that on the last one as well. Anytime I add a new node, I need to increase my count. Now, in this case, my count is 200, right? So now my count is now 201. So, but anytime I include a new node, I want to also increase my count. If I don't, my other methods that I use my count with will not be correct, and it will throw errors at you.